Hello, my name is Christina. For this video, I thought what I would do is just ask myself some interview questions and then answer them, since I'm not great speaking off the cuff. So I have some notes jotted down here. So my first question to myself is, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I'm an INFJ. And I really enjoy the Myers-Briggs model. I just think it's a lot of fun. So I usually share that. I value things like authenticity, learning, creativity. I recently realized that I really value meaningful contribution and like being able to be part of that. And then, of course, I value growth. And I think that is a big part of what drew me to coaching. And then some things I like to do outside of work. I love to read, of course, always reading. And I also love to write. I really love poetry. I also do a little bit of flash fiction. I also love being in nature, and I like to hike, walk, bike in nature. I like to bird watch, and I really like spending quality time with friends and family, and I really like one-on-one time, so I try to like schedule that and prioritize that when I can. My next question is, tell me about your coaching philosophy, particularly when it comes to neuroaffirming coaching. So something that I read at one point, I follow a coach, and in her newsletter, she talked about no way is the way, and applying that to coaching. And I think it is rooted in like a Taoist principle. And I really like that because sometimes, even though I can do motivational interviewing and I can bring in tools and resources, and I can brainstorm and do solutions, sometimes I think there's just a need to just be present and just flow with whatever's emerging for the coachee, and kind of go with that and be open to it. So that is probably just kind of one aspect of my coaching philosophy, and I think it really brings into play just like making space for what's coming in, being non-judgmental, and maybe having a structure or an idea, but being adaptable and flexible to changing it based on the needs of the moment and what the client is wanting. I think there's also, I really, really have loved in the past bringing in different types of like creative tools. I'm a therapy client myself, and I really love doing parts work and like embodied practices. So I think that's really neat when I'm able to maybe learn a new technique through a coaching workshop and then bring it into coaching. It's a little hard right now because Headspace is text based, so there's not as much that I can do with coaching clients. But I do really enjoy like um, visualization tools, like creative tools, like clean space coaching activities. The one tool I am able to do at Headspace is like the average perfect day. That usually goes pretty well through text. I also just really love giving people reflection questions between sessions if they're open to it, and if the session kind of called for it, if that's kind of just where we landed, and I'm having a question coming out. Um, another piece I think is that I love learning with my members, and I like to take the time outside of work when I can to learn and experiment with things for myself. Um, I had read once that you can only take clients as far as you've gone yourself, and I think that's really valid. And I think that idea encourages me to keep learning. And then on that note, I also deeply value supervision because that helps me with the reflection process, being a reflective practitioner, and then also continuing my growth. My next question is, what do I love about working with members with ADHD? So there is a lot that I see with these members that I've worked with. We call them members at Headspace, but clients. So I often see a lot of creativity, a lot of openness to trying new things through coaching, a lot of determination to keep showing up, a lot of self-awareness, the desire to learn and grow, emotional vulnerability and being able to express that seems to come through a lot. And then also just passion for their work or their hobbies or just their interests, maybe their family as well. And then my last question is, what have been challenges with working with members who have ADHD, and how do I work through those? So I can relate in a lot of ways to these members. A lot of their struggles I can relate to, even though I have a different neurotype. I can, yeah, I can relate to quite a bit. At the same time, I do notice that I have to work at and educate myself in order to really better understand that member's specific experience and what their struggle is, because I think it's not quite intuitive for me as it would be maybe someone with the exact same neurotype as me. So what helps with that kind of thing is just reflecting, continuing to learn, open communication, checking in as we go, making sure I'm understanding, making sure we're going on the right path that the person is wanting. And then I think just a lot of patience for me, because a lot of times I see members with ADHD coming in, and they've got this way of living that is just not working, and it hasn't worked for so long, and they're having to kind of build from the bottom up what is going to work for them. And so it just involves a lot of trial and error, a lot of experimentation. And sometimes that means people come back and say, hey, this really worked, I like this, I'm going to put this in my toolbox. Or hey, this worked for a little while and then it stopped working because the novelty wasn't there anymore. Or this just really missed the mark and is not for me. So there can be a lot of that, and I think that can be frustrating for folks when they're just not sure what's going to work, when is it going to work, when am I going to find something that really is going to help me. And so I think trying to just be really patient, and I think this brings in a lot of, for me as a coach, I've had to work on things like just being more mindful about providing the encouragement, the validation, getting better at strength spotting, and I think all those things help to build self-efficacy, which can be really, I think, a challenge for neurodivergent folks. We might be starting from kind of a smaller space with that. So there's also a focus on wanting to highlight the progress that you've made or the things that you've done so far to get to where you are, and look at, kind of view that from that angle rather than just seeing I'm not where I want to be and I have so much more to go. So yeah, so celebrating those successes. And that's it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for considering me for the position. This is a neat opportunity, and take care.